Good morning. Hey, might be evening for you anyway. This is If My People Bible Reading Part 240. And we're in the special readings after completing the Bible sessions Part 1 through Part 235. So here we are in Part 240, and this came up from another viewer. And they were asking about Noah and was he perfect? Was he righteous? Was he without sin? They were asking all these questions. What does it mean? Just exactly what does it mean when it says in Genesis 9:6? What's it talking about, Genesis 9:6? So we're going to go through that because it's kind of important. It deals with you. You you are not perfect, and you will never be perfect on this earth until Yeshua either makes you perfect on this earth or translates you into heaven. One way or another, your entire heart and mind and soul is going to be changed when Yeshua perfects it. So you're saying, Bruce, that I can I can't go without sin, like the new covenant says to go for and sin not. Yeshua says that. Well, he doesn't want you to. He wants you to put that in your mind. Don't go forward and just sin. Don't. Sorry about that. I love my clocks. Don't go forth and just sin, and intentionally, and do your best in prayer and thought to not do it unintentionally. Unintentionally, as you sin and you didn't realize what you've done. But you can go without that. You can try. Yeshua wants everyone to go forward with that command. That's a command from the new covenant, is to go forth and sin no more. Now, he said that on more than a few occasions. And he wasn't talking to just those people in that time. He's talking about you. But, and we are not perfect. One of those things is that's morally that Yeshua is talking about. Physically, Yeshua, he healed the people and nations when he was on earth. Many of them that it's not even written, as Hamid he mentioned, even mentions that there's so much that he did. You have no idea. It could fill the books of the libraries of the entire world of what he did. Now that's expansive. That's talking about what he did on his lifetime on earth and his mission and his purpose of being a human and to die for our sins and for that since eternity past and before. All these things that he's done. So that's a huge another subject. This all comes down to you. Can you be perfect? And I'm telling you, the answer is absolutely positively when it comes to that word in Noah. The answer is no. Was Yeshua perfect when he was born through Miriam, his mother? Yes. And how do we know that? Well, we're about to find out. So let's go to Genesis 6:9. Genesis 6:9. And we don't have to, well, we will. Let's just do this. In case somebody doesn't read it, you're supposed to read the whole Bible, and you have done that already. But if you haven't, here we go. Genesis 6:1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Yahweh saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all kind which they chose. Now, many people, not much in institutionalized Christians churches, but the Hebrew roots say, well, a good number of them saying, oh, they're talking about the wise and the patriarchs and the super smart, intelligent, and blessed people of Yahweh. No, they're not. Not when you read the entire word. Not when you've done what we've done so far. That's a wonderful thing, and that's a great thing to thought, but it seems like Kabbalah and Talmud got caught up in that, didn't it? Yeah, once again, I have to rail against Talmud and Kabbalah. Once you get caught up in that, if you don't have the supernatural ability to rightfully divide those words, then stay away from them. Sounds like the tree of knowledge and good and evil is once again getting involved We weren't supposed to have eaten from that tree of Torah to begin with. And now when you start playing with Torah and interpreting it in your own way and writing your own books and your own commentaries and putting out your own DVDs, you become no better than the Torah and the Kabbalah nonsense that has existed since the inventor of Kabbalah and Talmud, which means sage's personal, mystic, super secret Satan talk. It's exactly what it is. That is the synagogue of Satan. That's why Paul says that's the synagogue of Satan. Then he says this. Remember that. Many people who say they're Jewish, Paul says they're not. And you can find them out by their fruit. That's how you find out their fruit. If they're from the synagogue of Satan and from the churches of Satan, look at their fruit. Look at their doctrines. Look at their Talmud. Look at their Kabbalah. Look at their mysticism. Look at their societies that have secrets that they all belong to. And how many of those lodges have animal names to them? How interesting, isn't it? So there's the big hint in chapter 6, verse 1. Something's been going on with the DNA of humans since the beginning of time. Since, by the way, the Garden of Eden. Since understanding now that Cain. Where did Cain come from? We know Abel. We know Seth. And we know the generations of Adam to Noah. Because we're about to read it. Okay? Now does it make sense? Verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. The generations, that's where did Noah come from? From what line? From what person to what person to what person? And then finally, after 9 generations, we have the 10th, which is Noah. Now that we understand that, we can read the next sentence, right? Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. Generations has an S on it, not generation. Generations. And Noah walked with Yahweh. So did Seth. So did his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. Right? Did I say enough greats in there? So I'm looking up the Greek and Hebrew, Arabic understanding of perfect. What does it mean? That means he had perfect morals. Yeshua had perfect morals. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about without blemish. Without blemish. Technical word and bodily physical perfection, nothing to do with morality. So all those sermons you got there from other places and other ministers, other pastors, and others online people that people go out there and make money, just push the subscribe and push the bell button and make some money. That's what they want. And all these, actually 300 things I put out online. Have you ever heard me sit there and tell you to do all these things so I can make money? No. No. And you never will. So, it had to do with he had a perfect seed line. Key word is seed line. All through the Bible, it's the seed. All through Yeshua's commands and speaking to the people, he's talking about the seed, the man who plants the seed, the man who takes care of the seed, the man who reaps the seed, the man who stores the seed, the man who sells the seed, the man who openly gives tithing and on offerings to those widows and orphans. In other words, people owe people who have nothing and no one to back them up, and orphans, little people. That means before birth too. That means keeping people from abortions. In the United States, will pay an incredible price for 67, 68, and growing million. I live near one of the largest abortion clinics in the United States, just built. In St. Louis, they tried to shut down all of Missouri's, and as a result of that, it was shut down. And what did the Democrats and the federal government do? They came in and openly and approved a gigantic, the biggest one in the United States. And they're currently saying that, oh, well, we're not doing any abortions on site here, but we will admit to bringing all these people in and putting them through the propaganda and deprogramming them and sending them out to other sites so they can get abortions on demand. Boy, oh boy, the tribe of Ephraim and the tribe of Manasseh, Britain, Canada, all wherever Ephraim went, they're not just in Britain, Canada, the United States, they're everywhere, but Ephraim is paying the price. When you read of the 16 prophets and the 16 minor and the 12 minor prophets in the Bible, you'll see the mention of Ephraim over and over and over and over and again. And by the way, does it ever end up good? It always ends up judgment. So this country is not going to get out of this judgment because why? But the Bible says they're not going to get out of it. So for those of you who hope and pray and all this, the United States turned into an evangelistic Christian nation again, think again. It's written in the Word. So you denying the entire Bible? Obviously you are. Everybody just goes to where someone speaks happy words so that they're just so happy and just keep saying those wonderful things and then I love it and I'll send you some cash. So you can build more buildings and more temples and more pagan doctrines. Genesis 6:9. Does that now kind of go with why the world was destroyed? Because of the seed that was screwed up, the earth, the soil, the land, any waterways whatsoever, the animals, the critters, the birds. Why Yahweh comes in and destroys 99.999999999% of everything on earth and only keeps what he decides goes in the ark? Noah didn't make that decision. Neither did his kids or his wife. Yahweh made the decision what came on to that ark. Good, bad, and ugly. Think about it. Good, bad, and ugly came on that ark, including Noah. He was not without moral sin, but the seed was perfect in his generations. That means the one before, starting from Adam, that seed stayed, the perfect seed, the DNA stayed perfect all the way through Yeshua. And did it end after that? Now, going against the Da Vinci Code here, yeah, it did. It ended. Tom Hanks, you got it wrong, buddy. Playing the Catholic thing, aren't you? Okay, so there explains the entire world being doused in death and in salt. The salt covenant. The salt covenant. It didn't start with David. It started with Noah. The salt covenant. Think about that. All right, before I end this, that gives Hebrew roots people something to do because I've read all your salt covenant stuff. It's not what I just said. I said it started with Noah. It didn't start with David. Okay. Do a little bit of study on that. All right, let's get back to you. So you Christians who don't understand a word I just said, read the Bible from beginning to end. Okay, one more thing. Sodom and Gomorrah, there was just an example. Today when we go over there and dig it up and so forth and so on, they see that there's something terrible happened there because there's a massive death and destruction through fire. And now what's left in there? Salt. Salt. Now today, is God going to come and do that again? Yahweh going to come do that again? No, he says because you are now the purification. You are the salt of the earth. So there you go. Hope I did a blessing for you. Hope you will bless others. Pass this on. And I thank you and shalom.